Hey, this is Joy. Welcome back for another Whimsy Stamps video. Today I am sharing 3 cards using a distress ink underlay painting technique with Copic markers. I am using the new Gerbera Daisies stamp set and distress inks in the colors of fossilized amber and shabby shutters. You're going to notice that I put a craft mat down onto my glass mat, and that's because I want to get the beading that happens with a craft mat. So once I put my colors down, I use my distress sprayer and I then rub my finger through that. So you're asking why I did that. That breaks up the inks so that you don't get these squares. Also, it gives you a more painterly or watercolor effect with that. Now I know that's contradictory to what I'm saying, that I want the beading and the texture, but that's going to come in next. I decide that since I have so much ink that I'm going to do 3 panels, and as I pick up my ink you're going to see that there's less and it's more dispersed, meaning that it's more watercolor effect here. I'm just going through my panels. Off camera I do dry this. It's very important that you do that. So that when you put your next layers down, you get more nuggets of color. So here I put down more ink and less water. And this is where the beading comes into. So as I smash or smush my paper into the ink, I'm getting a lot of the pinpoint fine textures. And I do this 3 times. And each panel you're going to see is completely different, but we're going to get really good results. I did have to go back in with some extra water for my 3rd panel, and so I don't get as much texture, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm trying to get this color down so that we can do some Copic coloring. Now I do dry this off camera, and to flatten the paper, because I'm using 80-pound cardstock, I put this through my die cutting machine just for the pressure, and that's how I get my cardstock straight again. Here I am inking up my Gerbera Daisy with dye ink so that I can Copic color these. And I do that to all 3 panels. And here I'm just deciding which one I want to do what with. I also stamped it in white so that you could see the full effect of the stamp. So one of the first things I want to express is that the distress ink acts as an underpainting and adds the texture, so you don't have to do as much coloring. And the reason this works is distress inks are dye inks, so they're also compatible with Copics, and both inks are translucent and buildable. So I am using a YG03 and a YG63. And I'm letting my yellows and my light greens of my distress inks to be my highlights and my dark shadows for this. And basically I'm using the same 2 color combinations on all of the greenery and in 2 of the cards. I'm sorry about that. And they're all going to look different depending on what textures you have. If you are interested in this Gerbera Daisy stamp set, it is linked in the description box below. We would love it if you would leave us a comment, consider liking and subscribing so that you'll see more of our channel. We love hanging out with you, and we just really value the time that you put in and you spend with us. Next, I am coming in to do the daisies, and I am using a Y19, and I'm doing that at the base of the petals, and I am following the artist drawn lines. Again, I am letting the yellow part of the distress ink, the fossilized amber, be my highlight color and letting some of those shine in through, okay? So you're going to have some greens in there, and you're also going to have some yellows, and I'm just embracing all of the things. I am not leaving in every single petal because this is a repetitive process. Then I am bringing in a Y13, and I am extending that dark shadow a little bit just so that we get some dimension in our flowers. Again, we're doing simple alcohol markers. This will work whether you're using Copics or if you're using Olo or any type of alcohol marker. For the center part of the flower, I'm using a YR24, and I'm just dotting that in. And then I used a Y19, and then I'm just blending that a little bit with a Y11, just so that we get some blending. Now for those little berries on the side, I am using a YR68, and I am just dotting those in. Again, I am embracing all of the texture from our underpainting. I'm not trying to do anything real special with my Copics. Then I use a YR63. And now for the vase, I'm going to pretend that this is more like a crock, that it's like an antique crock that you would see. And I am just feathering in some YG63 on the sides where the artist has drawn in the lines for the shadow. And again, I'm letting that chamois shutters do most of the work for me. I did feel like we needed a little bit more shading, so I added a little bit of the YG63. And that's really all that I did for this card, or for this panel. I think it kind of speaks for itself. This is a great technique for someone who's just starting out, or maybe an intermediate card maker, but it's just as fun for anybody, no matter what level that they feel like they're at. So I repeated that on a second panel, and then I'm using the 3-in-1 mitered frames, and I cut that on an A2 card base, so you'll see that little tiny frame. That was what was left over from my cardstock. But these rectangles that I'm putting up there right now, that's actually what that cuts out. So I am using the larger of the mitered frames, and I am framing one of those Gerbera Daisies, and I'm cutting that down with my scissors. And then for the next one, that leftover rectangle from my A2 base, I'm using that as a frame as well. For my third card, I am putting that down just on a white card base, and I did not color that one because I wanted you to see what the technique was. Also, to flatten my card, I made sure to use the 3D foam creative sheets to adhere those to my card bases. Then from the Unicorn Kisses stamp set, I'm using the Happy Birthday, and I stamped that with Versamark and embossed that in gold. And I'm placing that on 2 of the cards. Then I stamped the Happy Birthday in black on the plain one. Here I'm just showing you the bling that I added and some of the sparkle and shine and how different these cards look, even though they are the exact same process. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, I will let you hang out with the other design team members. Take care. Bye-bye.